What's up, everyone? We have made it. We are now officially starting the 2025 USL Championship season. Orange County on their quest to lift the USL Championship Cup in 2025 starts this weekend with a home match against the Oakland Roots. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk a little bit about the final preseason match, which many of us got to witness as well in person at Championship Soccer Stadium. I hope you're as excited as I am. I hope my co-hosts are. Let's get this thing started. Welcome to the Show of Champions. This is the Orange and Black Soccer. How's it going, Orange County? Welcome to another episode of the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, the first and only podcast dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans and supporters. I'm your host, Ray Samora. I'm here to take you through this journey as we discuss all things Orange County Soccer Club. Helping me out, we've got a great group of co-hosts with me. First, the original co-host for me, that is Dylan. Let me ask you this quick random question, Dylan. How shocked are you that we can still claim that we are the first and only podcast dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club?
Well, I do think we'll always be able to say that we're the first. As to whether or not we're the only, we'll see what April 1st brings this year, I think.
Ooh, I guess apparently something happening April 1st per Dylan. Is he going to leave us and start his own podcast like he did last year? Who knows? But we're not here to talk about Dylan's aspirations for podcasting. We're here to talk about Orange County Soccer Club. Another person helping out with that is Brad. Brad, how are you doing? And welcome.
I'm doing quite all right. Happy to talk some more soccer. We got the season upon us and everything is good in the world.
And our final co-host for this episode, one of our members that contributes a lot in the written side of things, but is also a part of this podcast show, has been on here multiple times now, and he's probably the smartest out of all of us here. That is DK Jenks. DK, how excited are you for the start of the 2025 season and seeing Orange County out in the pitch with matches that matter?
I was going to say initially that I don't think I'm the smartest one on here, but then you fumbled your words so much that I was like, maybe I could be. I'm very excited for the new season to kick off. Obviously, we're going to get into it, but this last Friday's match, the last preseason, really, I think, hyped up not only me, but a lot of the fans to see what we can and hopefully will do in 2025.
Yes, it was a great opportunity for the fans to see the team at Championship Soccer Stadium. And the nice thing about it was an opportunity to see basically what you're probably expecting to be the key contributors to this roster in 2025, at least to kick off the season. It was a full played match from Orange County, unlike other preseason matches where you maybe see the starting 11 or at least a key group of players in the starting 11 to start the match, and then maybe a bunch of trialists or fringe players playing in the second half. This was actually a match where you saw a lot of the players playing for a majority of the match. We'll get right into this because we definitely want to preview the upcoming match, but we want to talk about the match that a lot of fans got to see. One of the few opportunities in the preseason where fans get to watch their team play. Everyone knows in the past, I don't think it's just an Orange County thing. I think it's a USL thing in general where a lot of the preseason matches are behind closed doors or not open to the public. But Orange County opened the doors for this match. I believe it was for season ticket holders, club owners that got the opportunity to come watch this. And then obviously a few friends and families of all that. But Orange County hosted, I guess for this match, they wanted to be called Galaxy 2 and not by their true name of Ventura something or other. So I guess we'll talk about it. Galaxy 2 versus Orange County. The team from Thousand Oaks by way of Carson, by way of Ventura. I don't understand the logistics of this team. They train in Carson, they play in Thousand Oaks, but their jersey says Ventura, but they were Galaxy 2 for this match. It's too much. My brain's just gone now. Hopefully I didn't confuse anyone listening. I'm going to go to you first, DK, because out of all of us on the screen, I know you and I were the only ones actually at this match. So Orange County host Galaxy 2, come away with a nice victory. And it was great to see some of the talent that was once part of the Galaxy organization play a key role in the goals and the play out there for Orange County. What were your thoughts on this match in general? And from what you saw from Orange County, how prepared do you think they look for the season opener based off of this match?
Yeah, I mean, I think they looked great. It was for anybody who didn't pay attention to the scoreline or see it, I believe it was 5-2 for Orange County. So obviously tons of goals. I think that's kind of what we expect with how top heavy the roster is as far as offense goes. So really, a lot of my main focus was watching the midfield and the defense to see how they would do. And I think that they really did a solid performance. They did score 2, but the second goal was just kind of a silly penalty that could have easily been avoided. And I think as long as they can kind of build that discipline over the time and getting ready for the season, then we should be fine and hopefully not conceding those penalties. But yeah, I was very impressed. I mean, I think it was really awesome to see Dunbar net 2 goals. So that really gives me some hope because I think we talked about it a lot last season and, on the podcast and in the stands, the fact that he has so much talent, but he just wasn't able to kind of have that clinical finish in matches as much as we would have liked. So helping him build that confidence early in a game like that in front of fans, I think is going to be huge. Obviously, I still have concerns, as we've seen in the chat and everything, about our depth with our midfield and our defense. And we'll probably get into that a little bit as we discuss the next game on Saturday. But obviously, our offense looks amazing, and that's without 2 kind of key offense players that we'll have throughout. Both Liam McKinnon and Bryce Jamieson didn't dress at all. So not sure if they're going to be prepared or available, I should say, for this coming Saturday. But it looks like even without them, we should be pretty solid. Like, this is an MLS Next Pro team, so not one that I take super seriously anyways. So it's not like we're going to be putting in 5 goals against Oakland on Saturday. But as long as we put in more than they do, then we're good to go.
So I guess what we could say with the 2 players that you called out that weren't dressed for this match, obviously out of any sort of area of the pitch where you're having some players not suit up, attacking is probably the best place for that to happen right now, at least earlier on the season. Calling out the great performance from Cameron Dunbar, and even Ethan Zubak had a really great performance out there for Orange County. I think it's really important for those 2 players to figure things out early, and they now have a season playing with Orange County under their belt. We know they've proven in the past that they can perform at this level. Obviously, when you move from some teams, it takes a little bit of time to settle and get to know some teammates and get to know even just the pitch and the atmosphere and the coaching staff. And I think, I don't know if you were part of this conversation that I was having at the match with some of the other fans, but it could also be difficult when you look at a player that was really highly touted in the Galaxy organization, right? These are players that were expected to contribute down their career for Galaxy or for something else at that level. They made the attempt at the MLS level. I believe Ethan played last before joining us was with Nashville. Dunbar was in Minnesota, I believe, before joining us. It didn't quite pan out for them. So they came back to the USL Championship level. Potentially, that's a difficult decision to come to, right? I mean, neither of them are old by any means, at least compared to even myself, really, right? But even at professional soccer level, neither of them are old players, but there has to be some sort of letdown when you sort of come to terms that maybe this is the level I need to be at instead of that level that I thought I was going to get to at some point or be at this level at this time of the season or at this time in my career. Dylan, I want to ask you that. Like, obviously you didn't get to watch this match. So there's not much you could talk about that, but they did have some really great performances out there among other players for Orange County. What are your thoughts? So is there any leeway you can give a player like an Ethan Zubak or a Cameron Dunbar who has sort of come to terms that they're championship level players and not MLS level players at this point in their career? Is there any leeway you can give them for maybe a subpar season for their standards, and maybe now we can see the true form of them, or should they have done better last year? And do you expect even more out of them this year?
I would like to maybe let me start by saying I think it's good that you say that they are championship level players at this moment. I think they are I think they play in the championship as a byproduct of how MLS rosters are constructed, but that's a podcast that I don't particularly care to be on, because why bother? They're 26 and 22. Ethan Zubak's 26, Cameron Dunbar 22. They've got plenty of time before they're reaching their prime. And we were not a very good team for large sections of last year. So did they underperform? Probably. I know DK got plenty of grief about signing Ethan Zubak and not a lot happening for a while. I think we talk a lot about typically defenses need time to gel. I think offenses do as well, especially when we were just sputtering for large parts of last season. We know what Cameron Dunbar can do on his day. We've seen what Ethan Zubak can do on his day. They've had an entire year to figure out how to play with each other, how to communicate with each other. We saw that starting to take hold last year. Now it's just be along for the ride, and hopefully we can give DK some grief, even if things are going well, just because it's fun to do.
Always.
Brad, let me ask you this question again. You didn't really get to see the match in person because of geographical differences of where the game was and where you live, right? But you got to see the final score. Is there any concern, without seeing what happened on the pitch, is there any concern that Orange County conceded 2 goals against an MLS Next Pro team, as opposed to maybe something more at their level? Does that concern you at all that they conceded any goals in this match?
No.
Simple and sweet answer from Brad.
I can't go into more detail. Like, I wasn't there. One of them was a penalty, if I remember correctly. So, sure, we put 5 against that team. We'll be fine for the season.
Can I
go, Dylan.
Ray, because you've been asking a lot of questions. In last year's last match, Chris Hagart had not a great game. Do we write him off for the entire season, or do we expect him to bounce back? And Ryan Dogman once got sent off in the 6th minute of a match. Is he the worst left back that's ever played for Orange County?
I sense a little bit of sarcasm in Dylan's voice there when he's asking these questions. So I'm not even going to give you an answer on that. I'm just going to ignore what you're asking, Dylan. But yeah, I don't think there's much to be concerned about in the aspect of the scoreline as far as the goals conceded for Orange County. It's one of those things where you're, especially on that defense, right? You have 2 returning players that are anticipated as your starters. The other 2 are newcomers, and they're quality newcomers, but they're still newcomers. So when you look at the returners, that's Ashton Miles and Orion Dogman returning in the back line. Ashton Miles is still one of the young players for this team. There's a lot of excitement over him sort of getting control of a role like that, but he's still a young player. Ryan Dogman, we all know what to expect out of him. He's an amazing player back there. But I think defense is one of the areas of the pitch where chemistry plays a big part of success. It's not something where you can just throw in random lineups in defense and expect it to work really well. Offense is a different thing for me. I think sometimes with offense, you can have a little bit more success because there's a little bit more fluidity. There's a little bit more openness to that. Defense, you have to really play your positions the right way and play them correctly with the teammate that you have on the pitch. So I think as this team builds up some chemistry on defense, I think there's going to be some success. The worry there is injuries. Luckily, right now, it seems like the defense is pretty healthy. Hopefully it remains that way. I would assume there's some more additions to the defensive area throughout the season. We've seen that in the past with Orange County. I think we will see that here. But 2 goals in the preseason to a lower level team is not concerning for me. I think it'll be a solid defense as long as they get that consistency. That's what I think is really needed here. DK.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to mention real quick, I don't know what you were going to ask, but since we're talking about the defense, just somebody that I was impressed with and am excited to see more of is Tom Brewitt. I think he did really a solid job in that game. I don't think he's had a lot of time with the club as far as preseason goes. So I do agree that for the defense, I mean, and for this entire squad, that it's going to take a little bit of time for their chemistry to kind of build and connect. And that is, unfortunately something that happens with a lot of USL championship teams, where you do see a kind of a revolving door, a lot of coming and going between players. I think we do have a solid foundation of players from last season, but obviously we are going to be missing, a handful of those leaders that were on the pitch. So it's going to be interesting to see if people like Tom Brewitt, who is that experienced center back that we brought in, can, step up to take on that role, and, connect with the team as well, not just as a leader, but to be led at times as well. But I'm really excited about what we have on the pitch. A preseason match in general, you want to just look at with a grain of salt, see what was good, see what needs to be built up, and see how they can actually put that onto paper once the season officially begins. So obviously I think our big, analysts or analytics of this team and this squad is going to be when they're playing Oakland on Saturday.
Let me just throw in really quick on Tom Brewitt. I think the fans that were at the match this past Friday, they've learned, and I'm sure a lot of the fans will learn quickly, he's sort of a good sort of replacement for Marcus Knockham as far as just the interaction with the fans. I believe after the match, he was the one telling his teammates, let's go, show love to the supporters group for being out here and chanting all day long. And I think he's going to be good for this team. Like you said, he hasn't had much time to work with Orange County. It's relatively new here, but let's not forget, he's an experienced USL Championship defender. It's not like he is an unknown coming from the League One or even League Two in England trying to see if he can make the transition to US soccer. He's been with the championship with Hartford and with Tacoma Defiance back when they were part of USL Championship back in the day. So I as much as I will miss someone like a Marcus Knockham, I think Brewitt's going to do a good job of fitting into that role that Marcus played, not just on the pitch, but also as sort of a fan favorite, because he seems to be that type of person. Let's do this. The important thing, games now matter, results now matter, and that counts in the standings and in Orange County's quest for an unbeaten season in 2025. It starts this weekend as Orange County will be hosting the team from up north, up in Oakland, Oakland Roots. Before we get into that, has anyone seen Oakland? They released a jersey that basically pays homage to the Oakland Athletics, I believe, right? Has anyone seen that kit? Does anyone like that kit? I'm in love with that kit, even though I do not like Oakland A's. I'm an Angels fan. I love the thought behind that kit. I just want to ask y'all that before we actually start talking about the previewing this match. Dylan, your thoughts? Do you love that kid as much as I do?
I was just a little bit curious for a minute. What are the Oakland A's? I am unfamiliar.
Okay. DK, what are your thoughts? Are you in love with this kid as much as I am?
Well, I don't necessarily love the kit because I don't necessarily care about their kit that much. But I do think that it was a cool nod now that they're playing in the Coliseum to do a little honor to the Oakland A's. I think it's an interesting choice for sure. They've never really had those green and yellow colors before. But I dig it. It's cool. I don't think about it much, but
I can understand this as it's a way to try and bring in some of those Oakland A's fans who are now going to be missing professional sports at the Coliseum as far as stickball goes. But maybe it's a good attraction for those fans that want another team to cheer for, because it looks like what they used to watch. Brad, I'm going to go to you. Your thoughts on this? Apparently, I'm the only one that really is in love with the thought of the way this kit was designed and what it sort of is representing. What are your thoughts, Brad? And apparently, Howdy, it's David, thinks it's awful, so they definitely don't agree with me.
I mean, does it compare to their home jerseys? No, I think their home jerseys are top of the league, the Mosaic Rainbow. These are great jerseys, I think. I do agree with you there. I love what they stand for, and I think it's actually kind of sad that this is their away jersey that they don't get to play in the Coliseum with. Unless we're all wrong here and they're playing black on the road, so.
I think they will get an opportunity to play with that at the Coliseum. I think, and I think it's beautiful. I think it's awesome. It sort of reminds me, and I got to thinking this when I was talking with my wife a week or two back. I didn't realize this until recently, and I'm sure other people realize this. Pittsburgh, if you look at all of their professional sports teams, they have something in common, and that's the colors, black and yellow. The Steelers, Pittsburgh, the soccer team, the Penguins, the Pirates, they all wear black and yellow as their primary colors, which is freaking awesome because that's representing your city. And it's not just a random mismatch of teams that just all want to pick their own way to do it. It's like a true city brand. And again, I think that's where I see when I see these Oakland Roots jerseys paying homage to the Athletics. It looks really cool. Let's talk about this match. Home match for Orange County to open the season against a team that you know has always been tough for Orange County in the past. How concerned are we, being that, again, we've talked about this already, very limited options in defense, relatively good, a good mix of some new players that are still trying to figure out where they sit in here, and a loaded front line of players that now Coach Stone, it's the difficulty of picking who's getting the minutes up there. Cause obviously everyone up there wants minutes. Obviously everyone there can't get minutes unless they're willing to play center back or goalkeeper or something like that. Maybe. I'm going to go to you, Dylan, first. You get to pick. Do you want to talk about just Oakland in general? Do you want to talk about the defense, or do you want to talk about the offense for Orange County? I'll give you the choice.
I think we should probably talk about the offense because it looks like, and we can discuss this in a few minutes, I believe, but it looks like the team's been built around outscoring our opponents this year. So there's probably no better place to start. And also, I'm just curious to know who's going to score the first goal for Orange County this year. I mean, perhaps it's not really up to me to be asking questions at this point, but
no, you can, Dylan. You're allowed to.
I mean, I personally would hope it'd be an own goal just for the chaos of what that entails. But you know, I don't care who scores it. I'm just excited to hopefully see it on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of touch on that, like, it's crazy question to ask because it really could be anybody. You know, hopefully we get an early goal, but like, you know, they're talking about him in the chat as well, and he also looked pretty fantastic. But Usman Sia was pretty amazing on Friday, so I could see him getting, you know, netting in a goal. I think clearly, if you are a betting man based off the performance on Friday, it would be Cameron Dunbar, who got in 2. But I guess if I had to make a clear-cut guess, it would probably be my boy Zubak, just to say, hey, he's our number 9. Let's get him that first goal, and let's get it early. But, of course, if it does come out later, they're also talking about Mohamedou War, who also looked pretty fantastic for the short minutes he got. I think he will really be somebody that comes on as like that super sub. But I think we're all excited to see him since he started open tryout, trialist last year, trialist this year, and finally got on the team. So excited to see what he can do.
It shows that he really wants this. That's what that shows, right? Like, you come last year, you don't quite make the cut. You come back this year and you've improved. You worked, you showed something to the coach staff, you make the roster. That's something you want. That's someone that you want wearing your crest on the shirt when they're playing the match, is someone that really wants this. And it seems like War really wants this. Going back to your comment, Dylan, that, you know, basically it looks like we just want to outscore everybody. Basically, Dylan, even though he didn't quite say it, I know exactly what you're thinking. This is Orange County Soccer Club Ange ball. If you don't watch Tottenham right now with Ange as their manager, that's basically what they do. Let's just try and outscore you. We're just going to go all out on the attack. Defense, we'll leave one defender
let's hope
back.
we do it better.
Hopefully
than
we
them.
win.
I just like that we're still in the preseason, but Ray's in midseason form. So if you just want to start talking about your kids' soccer team now, or maybe
that is coming later, Dylan. You already know that's coming. But here's what I'll say: as opposed to a team that plays really solid defense and it's sort of boring, you're not going to probably get that. And that's sort of where you have. I'm not referencing Ange ball as far as the success level, but it's just the massive attack levels. And for anyone that has watched a Tottenham match, whether you're a fan or not this season, the games are pretty exciting because there's a lot of goals being scored. There's a lot of back and forth action on it because of the way they're playing. So that's what I'm hoping to see with Orange County as far as just the excitement. I'm hoping for the good results as well. We'll see how that works for this team. Brad, you've been sitting patiently waiting to say something, I think. Let me ask you to jump on and just talk about your thoughts on this match with the defense that Orange County has. Are you concerned with that? And then also you can give any general other thoughts about this upcoming match with Orange County.
Okay, look, let's be honest for a second. We're not subbing every defender every game. We have, I believe, 6 signed. I am very confident someone like Kevin Partita is able to substitute in as a right or left back and will play very adamantly in a very crowded midfield that we have already. The flexibility of players to earn playing time will shine through. So, like, let's just squash that little bug with the defense. Plus, season's early. Players are healthy. Knock on wood that they stay that way. But let's, look at it and know we're probably going to get 1 or 2 more signings going into the season in the next couple weeks. Now, if they're defenders, awesome, great. If they're not, we'll figure it out. The team's been very flexible, been very solid on that front. Now,
wait, really quick, Brad, pause. Producer Andy threw it on the chats. Why does no one give Brad a hard time when he brings up an injury thought? But whenever I even just say you can think I'm going to finish with injuries, and then you guys give me a hard time. I want to know that, and then Brad, finish your thought.
All right. Anyways, so looking forward to this upcoming game as we squash that injury thing. There are some interesting players that are going to be on the opposing team that we need to really take the time to talk about. And there's 2 of them I want to highlight. The first is a superstar that played for Phoenix for a couple of years. Our coach is probably very knowledgeable about him and hopefully has a plan to shut him down. But that's Panos Armenakis. Very skilled striker, someone to definitely look out for, will challenge the defense very early on in the season. The other guy, I don't know much about him, but he's a big name signing coming to Oakland over the offseason. Once the quote-unquote second fastest player in the world in 2015, I think it was, Mexican defender Jürgen Damm. Yes, German name, Mexican heritage. Big name offseason signing for Oakland as a whole. Someone definitely to also keep an eye out for this game. Now, as for the rest of their team, you have a lot of question marks because they lost a lot of the players we've come to know as staples in that team. So no more Paul the Wall, and a couple of other revolving door names no longer there.
Yeah, just one other player to throw in that, has a really, really good USL Championship career is Tyler Gibson. Very solid midfielder. Been with Loose City, I think, for quite a while. So, yeah, I mean, I think that they have some star players and, definitely a little bit worried about them. But also I think they're extremely unbalanced and should be easy to exploit. Especially with, I think our offense could be stronger than theirs. And again, as long as we score 1 more goal than them, that's all we need.
Isn't that always what matters? Is just scoring 1 more goal than your opponent, right? That's the way you win these matches. That's the way you get the results. Just score more goals than your opponents, and that works. Really quick, I just want to get one last quick thought because I think it was you, DK, that brought up Silla, right? I was talking to a good friend of a show, Eli Lesser, at the match on Friday, and he shared with me a fact, and I didn't fact check this, so I don't know if it's true, but I'm going to trust Eli because he's a smart guy, that apparently Silla was like the lowest rated player in FIFA 1 year. And so he has this sort of like thing about him that he wants to prove himself. And from the one match I saw him in the preseason on Friday, it looked like he is determined to prove that he should be getting quality minutes with his team and helping lead this team. I'm going to let's dig into that a little bit. We have a guest that's going to be joining our show. I think he's ready to jump on. That is the head coach for your Orange County Soccer Club. That's Mr. Danny Stone. Coach Danny Stone. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate being on again with you guys.
Let me ask you the question about Sila. What have you seen from him in the preseason, in the training, and how exciting is it to have a player like that really like has this chip on their shoulder that wants to prove how good they are? How does that help you as a coach make things a little bit easier in making the decision to give him some playing time?
Yes, I mean Usman has joined the group. Obviously, a new player into the squad this year. He's unfortunately missed a little bit of preseason with some injury. Just in the last couple of weeks, really come back into being able to train and progress with the team. So we've seen a few minutes out of him in preseason, not a lot at this point, and he's certainly a player that continues to need some management in his physical development, and I mean that in a preseason sense. He's a little bit behind some of the other players in terms of weeks that he's been training, but certainly we're very pleased to have him with us this year, and a very talented player that we know will for sure add to the squad.
And really quick, because I was talking about it, I did my research right now while we were talking about this. Sila was rated in EAFC 25 47. Do you think that's a little harsh for him, Coach Stone?
I'm probably going to take your lead on this one, if I'm honest with you. It's not something I'm hugely familiar with, but it sounds to me like you're suggesting it is a little bit harsh, so maybe I'll follow your lead on that one.
I will just say, honestly, in playing FIFA for like 13 years, I've never really seen many players rated that low. So, and this is his card while he's still sort of, I guess, part of Houston Dynamo. So 47 is very interesting. What have you seen from this team in the preseason that gets you excited that this team can have a really good run in 2025 and hopefully be the last team standing lifting that trophy at the end of the year?
Yeah, we hope so. I mean, obviously that of course is the intention going in, as will be for everybody, I'm sure. But look, through preseason this year, we've done a lot of training. We've worked hard. The players who have been with us from the beginning of preseason have done a great job. We've slowly been adding players into the mix as preseason's developed. And, some of that is just timing of signings. Some of it, as always, is waiting on situations such as visas to come through for some international players. All of those things play a part in preseason. And I think from a coaching point of view, you always go into preseason with almost an ideal and best laid plans, and very rarely does it sort of come into fruition in terms of exactly how you imagined it would do. But as far as what we've seen from the team, we're very pleased with the players that we've added. We're very pleased, of course, with the players who we made a big effort to make sure return with us. And I think the squad has a nice balance to it of experienced players, not only with Orange County, but in terms of games and underneath their belts, with some exciting young players who have added to the group in terms of their quality and their energy, and that's something that has a nice blend to it. I think I've been very pleased with what I've seen from that on and off the field. The players have gelled together very well. We've played some good quality preseason games this year. We've faced some tough opponents. We've faced several different kinds of opponents, which has been nice. So we've been able to, to see how we've coped and how we've adjusted with different types of teams playing different ways against us. And that's been something in preseason I feel has helped us and has been important. And obviously going into the first week of the season, of course, it's the first game, and you don't have too much knowledge in terms of how the team you're going to face will play and will operate, and that's something that you'll get more familiar with as the season develops. But for us, I've really liked the way the team have come together and the way that they've performed in general, mostly in training. The games have been very good in general as well. But we all know that preseason is a time where we load the players' legs quite heavily in terms of the physical demand, and that's obviously for good reason, to get them prepared for the season. So often, you're playing preseason games with somewhat heavier legs than you might do through the course of a regular season. And again, that's by design, and I think the players have both committed to that and coped with that very well in general. And now we're at that point where preseason comes to an end, and we're all very ready for the start of the season. We're very excited.
As we get started with the season, tail end of last year, your last 12 matches, I believe 7-4-1 record. So first off, congratulations on getting the full-time job, if you will, and being here for 2025. I think you were privy to this. I think you were in the green room while this was discussed. But how do you envision your team playing this year? I know I talked about it last year. You didn't get much of a say of who was there. How is Danny Stone's Orange County going to get to reach 90 minutes?
Well, I think the underlying thing that we want to make sure we are is a very competitive team, which I felt we showed for that last 2 or 3 months of the season last year. Regardless of how we decide to play from more of a tactical point of view, we require and we demand that the players have good energy in what they do, good intensity in the way that they play and they work, and with and without the ball, we make sure we're a difficult team to play against. I think that was what you saw at the end of last season. There will be some tactical, I would say, evolution from where we left off the end of 2024, and again, some of that is down to players coming in that add some different traits and some different dynamic to the team. We're playing a way I think that suits the players that we've brought in, and we will like to try to play with some control of the ball, but without losing any of the verticality and the threat that I felt we possessed in the final months of last year. So without going too specifically deep into the details, I think you should expect, and I hope to see a nice blend of some control with some verticality in terms of how we attack, and some exciting players and some exciting team play that obviously the intention is to win this game. Simple as that. So not every game will look the same. Not every game will be approached exactly the same. That will be dependent on opponents and other situations that play a part. But I'm looking forward to seeing how the team can perform, in terms of building from where we left off last year and then adding, I think, some extra layers to that.
You led me to my next question, which was going to be asking if you had all of the pieces and players. And this is less of a question for me, but I think, some big departures this year. Are you fully satisfied with everybody that's come in?
Very happy with everybody that's come in. Yes, absolutely. I think, we will always be looking at potential options to continue to strengthen the squad. I think at the moment we are a good squad of players. We are relatively, I won't say small in numbers, but we're on the smaller side of a full squad, which is good. We're happy with where we're at, but that doesn't mean that we close the door on potentially bringing in another 1 or 2 additions, I think, to the group at some point if we feel the player that is right and fits what we're looking for, and obviously we'll add to the group in terms of quality and personality. So to answer your question, yes, very happy with what we have, and again, I've really liked what I've seen from the players, and we'll continue to assess things and see if we need to maybe add a couple more pieces and just maybe fill out the squad in the final weeks here and see where we end up. But as of right now, we are very happy with the players that we have available, and again, can't wait to get going with the real competition.
Awesome. Welcome back for a new season, Coach. I got 2 questions right now for you. First one is a lot of home games to start off the season. I think it's 5 of the first 6 games or 4 of the first 5 games. What's the mentality of the team going into the home stretch to start the season?
Yeah, obviously a heavy on some home games early on, absolutely, as you say. And I think really all that means for us is that we obviously want to hit the ground running, and the biggest thing for us is to put on a good display in front of the home fans. Really not thinking too far beyond game 1 at this point, and making that occasion on and off the field the best it possibly can be for everybody that comes out to support us. And as I've said many times previously, we're hugely appreciative, and we recognise and we feel the impact that the people who come and watch us play have on the team. And that was certainly noticeable in the final parts of last season, and I've no doubt that will be the same thing as we begin the season here. So yeah, it's nice to start off at home, and give our fans an early opportunity to see the team in person and get behind the team in person, and just as importantly for our players and our team to feel the impact that the fans can have. And again, it's a huge part of what we do. And the way that we play on the field, we hope is always representative of the people that come to support us. So that's a big thing for us to kick the season off at home is great, and we're really looking forward to that. And we will be doing everything we can to put a great display on for everybody that comes to watch us play on Saturday.
Awesome. One more follow-up question for you. A little bit of a league change when it comes to the schedule this year. Instead of having 34 league games where all of them count, we got 30 league games, and then we have four for the new Jägermeister Cup, which is going to involve all the championship teams. So, what's your opinion, and how is the team preparing to play in that little side competition alongside the regular weeks? Are we gonna look to try to win it all? Is those gonna be weeks where we test the roster a little bit more? What are your thoughts there?
The first answer is we will always go into games looking to win the game. Of course, any competition that we play in, the only intention is that we compete and we win those games, and we challenge and aim to win those competitions. So that doesn't change whether it's a regular season game or a Jägermeister Cup game or any other competition that we might be involved with this year. Uh, as far as the roster, at the same time, we trust the roster that we have, and we, of course, at times during the season will both choose to and need to rotate players and utilize the full roster. So I think the answer to your question there really is from a competition point of view, we will go to try to win every game that we play, regardless of competition. And the second part to your question is, yes, we will utilize the whole roster through the course of the season. That may not be specific, particularly to one competition versus the other, but we will certainly trust and utilize the players that we have at our disposal. And again, with the underlying intention that whoever plays, whichever 11 are on the field at any moment in any game, it's with the view to be competitive and to go and win.
Awesome. Great to hear all of that, Coach Stone. One of the, obvious things, and you kind of already touched up on it a little bit, but, from fans, and I'm sure you guys feel it in the locker room, is that, this season we did end up losing, a handful of probably, stellar leaders from the squad from the past couple seasons. And we also gained a lot of really talented players. So has this group had enough time in the off season to kind of really build that chemistry and vision for this new season, or do you think that's going to take a little bit more time for the new players to gel with the old guard?
Yeah, well, first of all, let me recognise the point that you make about the players who have moved on from the club. There are obviously various reasons behind those changes, as there always are. And first of all, there's a lot of players that we wish well in whatever their next step in their, whether that's career or life might be. And the players that have played for the organisation last year and then departed, are very much appreciated and valued for what they've done. And again, we wish them all the best moving forward. Really, to then touch on the second part of your question, the reality is in soccer is it is a next man up mentality, and we add players to the group, and we've I've mentioned already, we've added some quality, particularly I think some new players into the squad who are younger players, talented players who will certainly add to what we can achieve this year. And the reality is, from a leadership perspective, we also have some new players into the group who are experienced players in terms of games. They are experienced players in terms of leadership roles. And I have no doubt and I have no concern whatsoever that we will have a great group of leaders within this squad again this year. And, things change regularly in sport. That's normal. And so the players who are here this year, it is their job now to create the culture and the mentality towards what they want to achieve this year. And that's, whether that is with some of the returning players and some of the new players, the reality is that has to be done. And, I've no doubt that the people that we've brought into the room are more than capable of doing that. I think we'll see this in the way that we perform through the season. I think the in terms of the quality and the level of players that we've brought in, that's an exciting prospect. And we've brought in some fantastic people as well. So both of those things, I think, go hand in hand. Pre-season is always, I think, both long and short at the same time, if I'm honest with you. So to go into pre-season always feeling that you have some time. But the reality is we are really 7 weeks into a long year, a long season. And the probably the fair answer to your question is yes, there's been definitely some cohesion and some continued improvement and development throughout the course of pre-season. But in 7 weeks, it's not possible to be fully ready in terms of where you hope to get to, of course, during the season. So there has been a good amount, I think, of progress. That's what I've asked for from the players. Progress above perfection at this point. And we'll continue to evolve, continue to improve, and that collaboration between the players and that that cohesiveness that you hope to see on the field will continue to develop. So we have a long way to go still, but it now starts for real this weekend, and it's a little bit like building a plane while you fly it. So it's that's the reality now. We have to compete. We have to go and win games, and we will still continue to improve. And of course, there's a lot of room still to grow. And I've mentioned obviously players coming in at various times during preseason. There's always an adjustment period, and we're certainly still in that phase right now. But that won't stop us attacking games, and that won't stop us, putting our best foot forward and going out with the intention to win every game we play.
That's fantastic. And yeah, I know we're all really excited to see that culture build between the team itself and between the team and the fans and all of that. So it's going to be a great 2025. As far as that all goes, this is your first season where you're, with us from start to finish. I'm sure a lot of kind of decision making and thoughts went into, signing on with Orange County for 2025. So just kind of real simple or complicated, however you want to look at it. What are a few personal goals for yourself as the coach now that you're here with Orange County, not as an interim, but as the head coach?
Yeah, good question. I think really from my point of view, the role of the head coach is obviously, of course, first and foremost, to aid the team in terms of what we put onto the field and how the team perform on a match day. There's a lot of roles that a head coach also has to perform day in, day out as far as the club goes, separate from the team as well. And a big part of, I think, what I always make a focus of mine is to develop the organisation that I'm part of as well as develop the team. And we have a lot of fantastic people with this club that now I've been fortunate enough to be around for around 6 months or so now. And that is obviously involved with the playing staff and the technical staff, but wider than that as well. Everybody that supports the team on a day-to-day basis, everybody with the front office has been fantastic, not only with me, but with the team in the time that I've been here. And a big part of my role is to help give back to them and to help bring everybody along with what we're trying to achieve here. Because the reality is that nobody's role is bigger or smaller or more important or less important. That full club mentality is absolutely critical to what we do. And again, my role is to bring not only the players together, but to bring everybody connected with the club together. And then ultimately to continue to improve the organisation as a whole. And that effect is, it sort of comes full circle. The more obviously we work at improving the club as a whole, the more that eventually comes back and points back towards the team and the players on the field. So the role of a head coach is, there's a lot of factors that go into that. Obviously the team itself and the players is of course a primary focus, but by no means the only role that I will play this year. My role is to be a great ambassador for the club to help continue to grow, evolve, and improve the organisation in every way I can off the field.
Awesome, Coach. I got one more quick question before we kind of do our rapid fires. I've asked this of many a player, and I think it'll be interesting to ask as a coach. Typically, I ask, who do you model your game off of as a player? But clearly, as you are definitely on a different part of the field than the players, who do you model your coaching style and your career path based off of?
Do you know what? It's an excellent question. It's a question I've been asked a few times, and it's always very difficult to really pick one answer to that because the real answer is I don't particularly model myself or the way that I decide to work and coach on any one particular person. I really do feel that I've taken a lot of different aspects from many people that I've worked with personally and firsthand over the years, and also people that I admire from afar and have observed and watched. And I think the real answer to your question is it's a combination of dozens and dozens of people who have affected my career, both in terms of coaching knowledge and coaching aspects of things, but just as importantly from a human side of things. So I know that sounds like I'm dodging your question there. That certainly isn't the intention, but it is impossible for me to pick one person. Maybe next time we speak, I'll be able to narrow that down a little bit more for you. So give me a chance to think on that. But yeah, again, without wanting to avoid answering you, that is the most honest and real answer that I can give you. That's how it works.
Hey, Coach, you don't have to apologize. You don't even have to go and do some homework after this. I'm going to help validate this. And my co-hosts are going to get upset because they're going to hate that I say this. As a fellow coach, I coach youth soccer. I don't pick my style off of one coach. I watch a bunch of different things. I look at my players and I base my tactics off of that. I base the way I approach things off of that. I'm sure you do very similar things. It's
Absolutely.
not you're not hard-headed. You're looking at what you got on your roster and you're building your plan, your style, your coaching off of that to be successful. So Brad, I'm just letting you know I can validate Coach Stone, and there's no really one answer you can give on that. And I don't expect that from you next time you come on, Coach.
Yeah, and listen, I appreciate that. Thanks for backing me up there. I appreciate that. But I think also an important thing to mention in that vein is that your style, as you develop as a person, your style also changes, and the things that you value potentially change. And every day and every time I'm watching games, watching training, speaking with my coaching staff, and speaking with anybody in the game, it's you pick up ideas, you pick up moments, you pick up small comments that you think, what, that could work for me. That might be relevant to the way I like to work, and I can use that somewhere within my coaching structure. And it really is a combination of so many elements that go into that. Some of them have nothing to do with on-field tactical elements. I think the reality also for coaching is, as a head coach especially, you probably spend a lot more time thinking of the day-to-day off-field pieces than you actually do on the field, which sounds very strange for me to say for someone that whose job it is to coach a team to go on with the game of soccer. And of course, by no means am I saying that isn't a focus and we don't spend a lot of time doing that. But the reality also is that there are a lot of things from a human point of view that a team of 24 players and a staff and like I said, a club collectively, there are a lot of things that really affect on the field, but they begin off the field, and that is a huge part of the thinking. And thinking time is critical. That's something I would say as a coach. I realise that more and more every year that I'm working. Thinking time and time to really consider things properly is a real skill. And sometimes it's easy to rush through that for the sake of getting to the next moment quickly. But thinking, I think, is a talent and a skill, and something that for me anyway. Certainly, the older I get and the longer I do this, the more I value that particular part of things.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Coach. Really quick, we want to let you go. Your time is valuable, but I do want to do this. We started this last year, some rapid fire questions, 10 questions, quick response, and then an added twist to this. I want you to see if you can guess what the theme of this week's questions are. So are you ready for it, Coach?
Let's do it. Let's go.
All right. Quick responses. Burgers or fish and chips?
Fish.
Barbecue ribs or Sunday roast?
Wow. Sunday roast for sure, but I'm a big fan of barbecue ribs.
All right, apple pie or sticky toffee pudding?
Sticky toffee pudding, no question.
Pancakes or a full English breakfast?
For me, I'm a huge pancake fan. I'm going with that.
Awesome. Hot dogs or bangers and mash?
Bangers and mash.
Clam chowder or shepherd's pie?
Shepherd's pie.
Cheesecake or trifle?
Trifle.
Root beer float or cream tea?
Can't remember the last time I had either, but probably cream tea.
Buffalo wings or Cornish pasties? Pasties.
Pasties. Cornish pasties.
Pasties.
Yeah.
I got to say it right.
Cornish
I apologize. I apologize for mispronouncing it. Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner?
Well, Christmas dinner. I'm a huge Christmas fan. Anybody that knows me will tell you that I am a Christmas guy, so I'm going Christmas dinner.
Awesome. For bonus point, what was the theme of these 10 rapid fire questions?
Well, I feel like it was something along the lines of British foods and British preferences, and I think probably I've picked most of those options.
Yep. British versus American cuisine was the topic or the theme there. Coach Stone, we want to thank you as always for taking some time to speak with us, share some thoughts, ideas, and answers to questions with the fans and the listeners. We appreciate your time, and best of luck. The home opener, also best of luck in 2025. And we hope we get to talk to you a little bit later on in the season when we've got some good wins and 0 losses still.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for having me again. I appreciate it, and I'll look forward to chatting with you again very soon.
Awesome. Once again, everyone, head coach for your Orange County Soccer Club, Danny Stone. As always, thank you, Danny, for joining us. That was fun. That was an awesome conversation. We love hearing from Coach Stone when he's been on the show. And we appreciate the time that the players, the coaching staff, and whatever share with us and join us. So thank you so much, as always, Coach. Thoughts, everyone, before we get into our predictions, and I have one other little quick game for you guys as well. It'll be quick. Any thoughts about Coach Stone for the season? What are you expecting? What are you excited about from him as now no longer interim and he's getting the full preseason to work with his team? I'll go to you first, Dylan.
I'm really excited to see just how he's able to mold his vision for this team into the players that we have here, and whatever few remaining pieces that he kind of hinted at us getting, what those are, who those are. Beyond that, I'm really looking forward to him perhaps learning that the full English is definitely the correct answer. Pancakes are objectively the worst breakfast food.
All right. He liked pancakes, Dylan. He liked pancakes.
They're not good. The full English was actually the correct choice there.
So you're telling me you're basically saying right now that Coach Stone was wrong on that answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
right. DK, your thoughts. What are you excited about with Coach Stone returning and actually getting a full preseason with this team?
Yeah. I think Dylan kind of touched on it with his question, and so we got to hear a little bit about it, vaguely, since he doesn't want to get into a lot of his tactic and strategy and stuff. But I'm just excited to see the philosophy of Coach Stone. Now that he's had, that full off season to build a squad and isn't necessarily inheriting one. I'm excited to see what his vision as a coach for this team and this club is, and where that takes us for 2025. Because, he did fantastic with what he was given in those last 8 games. And so I can't wait to see what he does with a full season.
Brad, any thoughts?
Yeah, no, I completely agree on the full season and, taking every game seriously as possible. Love those answers. And just look forward to seeing how the team performs, starting off. Although when you did say next time we talk to him, we'll have a bunch of wins and no losses, I think I banged my desk a million times because I bring up injuries once and you throw a little bit of a sissy fit, and then you talk about an undefeated early season and knock on wood,
Yeah. Here's what I'm excited for. And I apologize for anyone that thought I was like equating myself to Coach Stone when I'm saying I also coach. I'm not doing that. I just wanted to, basically let Brad know that's a difficult question to answer. Because if you're doing that and just picking one person to follow, that's not the right way to do it. But with Coach Stone, we got to remember he wasn't with the team at the beginning of last season, joins mid-season, about a month of his tenure here. He now takes over interim head coach, and the team had some success. That's with a very limited time to really implement style, plans, ideas, thoughts. And again, you didn't have even the rest of the season like most interim coaches have prior to taking over roles. So I'm excited that, there's the full implementation of what he wants. And I want to see what he does with this really attack-minded roster build out so far. Obviously you might see more, but it's a really attack-minded roster build out. Dylan, I'm going to agree on something. Full English breakfast is really cool. I actually used to go watch soccer matches at a place that did a full English breakfast sandwich, like a grilled full English breakfast sandwich. Everything that would be on the plate for a full English breakfast was in the sandwich. So even beans, tomatoes, all that good stuff was in there. It was very interesting, but it was very yummy. Let's do this. I'm going to hand it over to Brad for the next portion of this. Apparently, we are returning with the fan predictions this year with a twist, apparently. What do you got, Brad?
Yeah, I mean, the twist is super minor. I wouldn't say it's like massively changing. So the prediction format as it stands will still be, which game you're predicting, the final result of the game, and then the actual prediction for the score. The only thing that's going to be changing is I think the biggest feedback I got from a lot of people in the off season was the fact of the matter that when you go and you miss 1, 2, 3, 10 weeks, your score kind of means less at the end of the year, or there's no way of catching up. So obviously, we want your predictions to matter, just about every week, but missing a couple weeks to not be as punishing as in prior seasons. So the way we're going to do it is we're going to break it up into kind of 10-week periods, 30 games, splits perfectly into 10 weeks. I'm going to ignore the Jägermeister Cup because those don't count towards the regular season standings of the USL Championship. Uh, and if we did make it further than 4 weeks into the season, we'd have to add more weeks to predictions. So I saw a couple of your faces go, don't worry about it. Matt, it gets messy when you do that. I understand the logic behind it. For those listening to the audio version only, predicting every game before the season starts definitely gets messy when 10 weeks into the season you go and add another prediction. Now you have two predictions for the same game. It's happened before. I used to allow it. It gets a little messy. So the way it's going to work is split it up into 4 different weeks or 4 different periods. You have the first 30 games or the first 10 games, the second 10 games, the third 10 games, and then the season as a whole. So we'll do kind of weighted averages. It'll be a little messy. It'll be fun to try out. But we'll kind of give a percentage of your score, and whoever has the highest percentage at the end of the season or total therefore will win the championship this year. So come join us along this interesting new phase of predictions, and I'll have the link posted on our social medias tomorrow and later this week.
Awesome.
And
Let's
if
do
you have
this.
questions,
Oh,
just direct message Brad because none of us know
Perfect.
what's going on except him.
mind blown. Mind blown with all that. I'm still confused. I'm still trying to figure it out, but we'll figure it out. I'm sure Brad has a 13-page instruction manual on how to do this so that we can make sure everyone turns in and submits their scores correctly. Let's do this. Let's do our on-air predictions. We're putting this on permanent video so everyone can call us out if we were wrong. This is for the home opener against Oakland. Dylan, I want to hear from you. What's your prediction on this match?
I'm predicting that everybody listening right now is actually subscribed to our podcast, whether that be on YouTube, whether that be on Spotify. Hey, whatever. If you're listening right now, drop us a like. Subscribe if you haven't. If you are listening and you haven't subscribed, what are you doing here? Come on. Anyway, Orange County 2, Oakland 0.
And I will say this also: make sure you follow us so you can see when we go live with our episodes every Tuesday Pacific time at 8:00. So you can watch us live. You can chat with us, and we will actually sometimes share your chats when we're going through this. If we like what we see, producer Andy's busy behind the scenes pulling up all the different comments that we see throughout all this. DK, your prediction for the match?
I'm going to go 2-1 Orange County.
Brad?
Yeah, I'm going to go 3-2 Orange County. Let's see a barn burner to start the season.
Yeah, Brad I should have gone before Brad because he basically stole what I was going to say. So I'm just going to I'm going to up it. I'm going to say 4-2 Orange County in this match. 4-2 Orange County. They are going to win. The good guys win the match at home. All right. One last thing. I teased a little quick game with you three. I'm going to do this right now. I talked to DK about this, but I never got numbers from him. So I created a scientific formula for some over-unders on 3 statistics for the 2025 season for Orange County. I want to see what you guys think. If you pick the over or the under, and at the end of the season, we'll see how well you did on this. The first over-under is going to be combined yellow cards for Kevin Partita and Kyle Scott. The over-under number is 22.5. Do you pick the over or the under, Brad?
For the whole season? Oh my
For the whole
gosh.
season.
30 games, Kevin Partita average. I'm going over, but I think that's actually a really good line.
All right. What about you, DK?
Yeah, that's a hard line actually.
I should be hired in Vegas, huh?
I'm gonna be going over. Mainly, yeah, over. Just over. They're
Dylan.
both gonna rack them up.
I am manifesting a healthy season for the both of them, so they are going to miss. They're going to get some breaks due to suspension, I do believe. And Ray, the only reason that you'd ever be hired in Vegas is if Fremont Street needed a clown.
Oh, that is a low blow, Dylan. That is a low blow. Next category is combined goals and assists for Ethan Zubak and Cameron Dunbar. The over-under is 20.5. Are you picking over or under, Dylan?
I'm going to go
That-
over on this one.
I made it decently difficult. I didn't give you guys easy ones here. I know. DK.
Because you said goals and assists, right? Goals and
Uh-huh.
assists, 20.5 over.
Yep. All right. What about you, Brad?
You know, I'm going to be different. I'm going to take the under here only because my dog hates me, as well as I really do see Liam McKinnon getting a significant playing portion this season. And
Brad's
kinda
dog
stealing
wants
a
to
lot of goals.
participate. Brad's dog wants to take part in this. I'm going to tell you right now, the numbers for last year, really quick for the yellow cards, the combined was 20 last year. For the goals and assists for Dunbar and Zubak, the combined was 18 last year. The last one I'm going to do, clean sheets for Shuttler. For Shuttler specifically, clean sheets. I'm putting it at 11.5. Are you going over or under? I'll go to DK first since he hasn't gone first yet.
I'm going to say under.
Under. Dylan.
I'm fully team under here, but prove me
All
wrong.
right.
Shuttler.
Yeah, I would love him to prove me wrong.
Brad.
Yeah, that's probably your worst of the three lines so far. I'm going to say under as well.
Hey, he got 13 last year. I know the defense isn't as solid this year. That's why it's a little bit lower as far as the line. But I mean, y'all are like not having faith that we can get some clean sheets this year, which hopefully you are proven wrong. With that said, any last random thoughts before we get to our what did we learn for this first episode before the season starts? Anyone have anything they want to share soccer related? Nope. All right. I will share one quick thing. Best of luck to my boys this weekend in the State Cup. They're in the final 32. We need 5 more wins to be the champions in Flight 3 in SoCal. So if you want to come out to Temecula and support us, I'll let you know when the games are. You can come out to Temecula. It's awesome. What did we learn this episode? I'm going to go first. I will go first because I don't want anyone to steal this. I learned that Brad is a nerd for math because he created this really complicated formula for the fan prediction game where he's breaking it down into like thirds and then overall and percentages and weighted, scores and all that. So Brad, I learned you're a nerd for math. Congratulations. Brad, what did you learn this episode?
I learned that I am a nerd for math because really I didn't put much, if any, thought into that. And there's no way that this new system will be so complicated it won't backfire. No, actually, I learned that sometimes you can just dodge questions Ray asks and just continue with your segment as normal, and the world will just continue to go. So, to my fellow podcast hosts, feel free to dodge Ray questions in the future.
But people want to know the questions I asked you, Brad. They really want to know. DK, what did you learn this episode?
Oh man, I mean, I don't think we got a ton of like direct answers to teach us much direct things, but I will say that I learned that Danny Stone does feel like this team is gelling really well together despite the new faces, and that we're all really excited for 2025 season to begin.
Dylan, what did you learn?
I learned a couple things tonight. One, you're in mid-season form, so that's wonderful. Next, somehow America has ruined Danny Stone because he thinks that pancakes are a superior breakfast than the full English. Impossible. Hey. There's no protein.
Maybe he's going to a really good pancake place like IHOP or something. You never know. With that said, I want to thank my fellow co-hosts, Brad, DK, Dylan, producer Annie in the background, all of those of you that were listening and watching live, contributing to the chats and having fun with us, plus our guest, OCSE head coach Danny Stone. I want to thank everyone. This is going to be a fun year in 2025. Hopefully, we celebrate at the end of the year as champions of the USL Championship, and the team is lifting up a cup. But regardless of that, it'll be a fun season. We appreciate it. This has been the Orange and Black Soccer Cast. We are out.